Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 4th grade concept of measurement problems. This is standard 4.8C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 19 of the 2019 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and then we will look at our answers together. So Armando has 2 pencils in his desk, and one looks longer than the other. So we're supposed to use the ruler to measure the length of each pencil to the nearest centimeter. Now, this was a paper and pencil test, so you had a ruler on the side. You actually had 2 different rulers, one for inches and one for centimeters. You had to make sure you picked the correct ruler. So what I did is I actually printed up the problem and printed up the ruler and cut it out, and I placed it right up here on the top, because it's not going to do you much good if you're watching this on your computer screen, your tablet, your laptop, or even your phone to try to measure this, because you can zoom in and zoom out and change the measurements. So I've gone ahead and lined up this ruler up here, and we need to, it says measurement is the closest to the difference. This is our key in centimeters between the lengths of these 2 pencils. Now, if we do not know what the difference is, we're going to be a little bit stuck. So let's go ahead and first let's find the measurement of each of these pencils, and then we'll see if we can figure out what the word difference means. So how do we measure? One thing we always make sure is we line up the end to the 0. Now we actually are kind of nice because these 2 pencils are actually, they're both lined up with each other. And so we've got our 0 right there. And you notice there's actually a little bit of a gap between 0 and the end. That is done purposefully, because if you put the 0 all the way on the end, it would make measuring a little bit easier, but then there would be no space for that 0 to go, because it would be all up against the end. So you need to make sure that you are lining up the end of your object. In this case, it is our pencils, with the 0 not necessarily the end of the ruler. Find the 0 and measure it up, and then you just lay it out. And as you can see, these are going to be close. They're not going to be exact, but they're going to be close. So I've got, this one is about, and I'll label it here, about 10 centimeters. And this one is about, looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit short. It's close enough. We're going to call that 13 centimeters. Now, we can do the 10 and we can do the 13, but unless we know what difference means, we are still going to be stuck, because watch what happens. If we decide to add the 2, 10 plus 13, we are going to get 23 centimeters, which is an answer choice. If we subtract the 2, we can get 13. I have to put that one on top, minus 10. That gets us 3 centimeters. So we can get both 23 and 3, and they're both options there. So how do we know if we do not know what difference means? Well, our context clue, if we think of this as a reading problem, is going to be this word between. Which measurement is closest to the difference in centimeters between the lengths? So what is between? Well, it's this. That's between. You see this space right here? Since they actually lined up both of these rulers or these pencils next to each other, and they're both lined up, we can easily put that up there, and we're looking at this space between. And what's the space between? Well, it's the distance here from 10 to 13. And so we can say, well, what's the distance between 10 and 13? Well, it's 1, 2, 3. So that difference is actually going to be subtraction. Difference is what we call the answer to a subtraction problem. The answer to an addition problem is the sum. The answer to a subtraction problem, which is what they're asking us to do here, is difference. Now, if you wanted to, if you were doing this paper and pencil, you could have saved yourself a little bit of trouble. You actually could have scooted this whole ruler over and just put your 0 right here and put your 3 right here. That also would have done the trick. So our answer is D.